Happy holidays! This is Real Wine, where we try to make wine a little more down to earth, and this is our holiday special. So I thought that I would take the time and share with you guys some of my most favorite beverage recipes for the holiday season, as well as give you a little bit of a how-to guide on gifting wine. Up first today, we're gonna do something a little bit different. So what's warm and spicy and awesome for those cold winter nights? Come with me and I'll show you. Mulled wine, that's what we're gonna be making today, and if you've never had this before, you're in for a treat. Basically, it's wine mixed with a ton of spices and a little bit of fruit and then heated up all together, so it makes it perfect for those cold winter nights, and one of my favorite comforting tastes. There's absolutely no need to use an expensive wine to make this because most of the flavors are gonna come from the flavors you add, not the wine itself, because you're heating it up. That being said, it's important to use a pretty strong, hearty wine like a Cabernet Sauvignon or a Zinfandel or even a Spanish red, so that it does hold up to the flavors that you're adding and the heat. So I'm using a Cabernet Sauvignon from Trader Joe's, which was $3.99, so it's like half a step up from $2 Chuck, a little bit better. So let's get started. Should I taste it first out of the bottle? All right then. Now you want to add the whole bottle of wine to your pot. Aha. Next up, we're gonna add some zest of an orange. It's thicker. You don't want to zest that. If you don't have a zester, you can kind of just get this stuff off with a knife. Just make sure you don't get the white part because the white part is bitter, and so you don't want that to go in there. You just want to get this orange part off of it, okay? And this part is kind of to taste. The zest of the orange has a lot of flavor, so if you don't want too much orangey flavor, you don't have to. We're also going to use a little bit of the juice in here. I'm gonna hold your hand over it and just catch any seeds that get in there. You don't want those in there. That would be bad. Now for a little lemon, just to add a little bit more acidity. I don't want to add too much lemon because lemon's super strong. I'm actually not gonna add any of the juice at all. Okay, next up, we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Okay, so the yummy nutmeg always reminds me of this time of the year because it's just a warm, it's like cinnamon, sort of spicy. But yummy. Okay, right in there. Recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of ginger, but I'm just gonna use 1 because ginger doesn't tend to be my most favorite thing, but ground ginger is a little different. So I'm gonna use about 1 tablespoon. All right, up next, whole cloves. So with these are weird. Have you ever seen these before? I don't know if you can see this. Oh, calls for 5 of them, so I'm gonna pop them in here one at a time. With these, they're whole in here, so you're gonna wanna kind of strain it out when you serve it and not eat one of these, because that would be weird. Okie dokie. 5 whole cloves. And 3 cinnamon sticks. Again, don't eat the cinnamon stick. 2 and 3. All right. Now we're gonna add ½ cup of sugar. You can also substitute honey for this if you want to be a little bit more organic, but I'm just going straight sugar. And ½ cup of water to even it out. And I'm gonna add cognac. Now you don't have to, obviously you can just have the wine, but adding this gives it a little bit more flavor and obviously way more alcohol. So calls for 2/3 of a cup. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. We'll say, yeah, sure, about that much. All right, and that's it. Now we're gonna turn it on. Okay, we're gonna give it a nice little stir, mix all the ingredients. And it's gonna sit on the stove for 25 minutes or so, 20-25, just till it gets warm. You don't want it to boil because then the alcohol will start cooking off. You just want it to get warm. So make sure you watch it, put it on a low heat and stir it occasionally so that the sugar dissolves and all the flavors mix together well. So that's it. I'm excited to try it when it's done. Okay, it's ready. First though, before we taste it, I want to show you. It's on this little I think they're called trivets. And it's made out of wine corks. I got it online and I had been collecting our corks. So it's got some of our favorite corks from the wineries there. And it's fun, so you get to relive the experience and stuff and reuse them. Little note, they give you sandpaper and recommend filing them down. And I didn't get why, because I was like, what do you mean file them down? I don't know, it's fine. It's to make it even. So I have some coasters that are basically unusable because nothing sits on them evenly because all the corks are different sizes. So anyway, note to self. So you want to ladle some into a glass. I'm actually gonna hold this by the handle. If you have a glass handled container, it's better because it is really hot. So you don't want to probably put it in like a wine glass because it might break it. Okay, I have to be careful because it is hot, okay? Don't burn your tongue and blame me. I'll be really pissed. Oh, it smells so good, so comforting. It's got the cinnamon really comes out and a little bit of the alcohol from the cognac. There's a chance I put a wee too much. It's okay. That's so good. Just makes me want to curl up in front of a fireplace with a good book and a glass of mulled wine. And just word to the wise, don't drink it too quickly, especially if you put cognac or brandy in it, because it will go to your head quick. Everyone should make this around the holiday time. It's absolutely wonderful. Now, when it comes to giving gifts, it really depends on what kind of impression you want to make. If you want to really impress someone and make a great impression, then it really does pay to spend a little bit more for that nicer bottle. But if you just want to give a nice, thoughtful gift, or even just stock up some wines for those unexpected holiday guests, then a wine under 9 will definitely do the trick. And today, we've got both, so let's check them out. Okay, so we're gonna do 2 wines that I'm suggesting for gifts for this holiday season. One is gonna be our wine under 9 and the other is not. So we're going to have a Andrew Murray Esperance, and I believe it's a 2008. Andrew Murray Vineyards is located in Los Olivos, California, which is, screw cap, one of my favorite places in the world. So I'm excited to try this one. So, both of our wines are blends. This one happens to be a GSM, which means Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre, which are just 3 different types of red grapes. It's a pretty popular blend. It's kind of meaty. It's got like fruity but meaty body to it. It's really fruity. Got some dark berries, like dark cherry, but also I think it's oak aged in French oak barrels. So it has some of that vanilla and also cinnamon spices. Bet this would have been interesting in the mulled wine. Way too expensive for that though. It's got a lot of structure, but it's still like, it's got finesse and structure at the same time, which seems really strange, but like, it's got body, it holds up in your mouth, it's got some tannins, but at the same time, it's super smooth. It's so good. This is gonna be a wine that I would recommend giving if you wanna make a good impression. It is $30 a bottle, so you're spending a little bit more than under 9. But it makes a good impression. It's a pretty well-known winery if you're in California for sure. If not, you can look it up. There's tons of info about it. It's a great little place and I'd like to support local people too. But when you guys are gifting wine, it's really important to not just walk over to a house with a bottle like this and say, here, Merry Christmas. Okay, don't do that. Wrap it, put it in a bag, do something with it that's nice. If you really like the person, you can even pair it with like a cheese basket. We have some cheeses and meats and stuff in it too, but only if you really like the person. Don't do it for your boss, unless you really like them. Okay, for our wine under 9, I'm really excited about this one because it's been around for a while and I taste it often. It's one of my go-to wines to just have in the house for unexpected guests. It's called Menage, Trois, so it's very It's a bold label, I would say. But it's a 2009 table wine. They call it a California table wine because it's a blend. So it does have Cabernet Sauvignon, Zinfandel, and Merlot blended in this one. If you look up the website for Menage, they have a very catchy little saying about putting those 3 grapes in the same bottle and that it's legal in most states. I don't know. Let's just jump right in. Smell it. It's kind of smoky. Oh, there's a very specific thing. Oh, I hate saying this. I hate it because I very much dislike it when I read it, but it does have sort of an earthy dirt smell, which I know. You're like, why would I drink that? That sounds awful. It does sound awful. It doesn't smell awful, and it certainly doesn't taste awful because I've had this before, but... You know my favorite thing about this wine? Is that it's just really, really drinkable. There's nothing too overwhelming. Like that dirt smell that you got in the nose is not really there in the taste, but it is fruity and light because it has so many grapes in it. It has the Zinfandel and the Cabernet and the Merlot. They all blend together really, really well and create this more smooth wine than you would get if any of them were on their own, because those tend to be stronger wines. But because they're all blended together and in the percentages that they're blended together, they've created this wine that's just lovely. And so the great thing about using it as a gift is that more people are gonna be more likely to like it because it doesn't have such a strong flavor one way or another. So if you're a Pinot person or you're a Cabernet person, you're probably gonna like this too because it's not too strong in any direction. It's just a nice, light, drinkable, fruity wine. Goes with a lot of stuff, great around the holidays. And it's $7.99. Not sure if I mentioned that yet, but it's $7.99. I see people at Costco every year, this is funny, buying cases of this wine because they then take it to their businesses, corporations, and give it as gifts to all their employees every year. I swear at Costco, it's funny. And that's probably also the best place to buy it. It's the cheapest there, but there's almost no tannin, but not in a weak way. It's just nice and smooth. Highly recommend this. Definitely just to have at the house for those unexpected guests, so you can pull out a bottle that has a really nice label and it's a talking point. It's fun, interesting, menage a trois. Well, that does it for our first holiday special of Real Wine. I hope you enjoyed it. Whatever it is you're celebrating this holiday season, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is, I hope you're having a great time. And until next time, ci vediamo un'altra volta. Drink up.